Hey everybody, it's Yusuf for Games No One Has Played review. I was planning on doing a video game plot summary for this, but I had so much to say about the game that my short review on the plot summary would be too long, so I'm making this. The gist of the story is that there is a porcelain doll-like character named Jack Russell, who is the son of a very famous Radiata knight named Cairn Russell, not Karen. Cairn. Cairn has died in the line of duty, and Jack is ready to follow in his footsteps. The story involves themes of prejudice, politics, and fantasy. About 2/3 of the way through the story, the game has you make a choice that will determine the rest of the story and the ending. I suggest you keep your save from right before that choice and finish the game on a second save. That way you don't have to play the game all the way through to see what happens with the second choice. Or you could just watch my walkthrough, right? Radiata Stories is one of those games for the PlayStation 2 that is very bittersweet. The sweet is that it's clear that Square Enix put a lot of energy on the cosmetics of the game. The game is beautiful for PlayStation 2. And there's a lot of lengthy cutscenes with a ton of voice acting, and they're all in-engine. Which is really cool because your character changes his appearance when he changes his armor and weapon. The backgrounds are indicative of the type of region they are in, and fit in well with whatever seasonal theme the region is stuck in. Sometimes there are small animations in the background of big monsters you'll never fight. It also has timed occurrences, because day and night move along kind of like Shenmue. One of the coolest things of this game is that the moon moves across the sky given the time of night. And the city of Radiata is alive with people doing things daily that affects the times that you can get friends on your list. That's right, Radiata Stories has friends for Jack Russell to fight with. This is like Chrono Cross or Chrono Trigger. Most of which seem to be more or less impressed with how strong he becomes as a fighter later in the story. At the beginning of the game, it was pretty hard to get friends unless you went out of your way to do something for them. So that was the sweet. Here's the bitter. The cutscenes are really long and consist of two people just talking. And then it cuts to two more people just talking somewhere else. The story doesn't seem to move along as fast as the amount of story in it, if that makes any sense. It's kind of like one of those superhero shows in the CW where the characters seem to talk in different rooms at the same time, and it is absolutely necessary for the viewer to see everyone converse. I've found myself falling asleep a bunch of times and just planning on watching the scenes later because I recorded everything. Seriously, the scene would happen and then jump to the next scene immediately. If you just beat a boss, you would have to wait a very long time before you could save your game. That brings me to the second most tragic thing about this game, the save points. Jack obligatorily has a save point in his room, but other than that, there are no save points in the entire map. Every now and then, if the story has gone too long, the devs program in a temporary save point. But once you move ahead in the story, the save point disappears. And this does not include right before you fight a boss. As a matter of fact, there were a few times when I didn't see the boss coming because no save point, and I wasn't quite ready for it. Then I lost to the boss and essentially lost maybe 1 to 2 hours of progress that I had. There was one time I barely beat the boss, and then the story came in with no save, and then they had me fight another boss almost immediately, which I lost to and went right back to my bedroom 2 hours prior to the boss fight. I was very upset, to say the least. Usually the idea is to save and save often, and a lot of times people complain nowadays when the checkpoints are really far apart. But I don't know of any game that is as ruthless as this one. The tutorials are really long, and they explain about 1/4 of the mechanics. The mechanics are somewhat explained in the instruction manual, but I did have to go to the internet a fair amount of times to get a quick explanation of techniques that I'm supposed to use. For instance, at the beginning of the game, Jack Russell is given a skill to build up called Luck Plus. So after you build that skill up to 5 stars, which is the max, you have no other skills to build up. So I played the whole game all the way through and came back to get the second ending when I found out that you are supposed to get your skills from friends. Now, friends have been in my group the whole time and I haven't acquired skills from them. So I look it up to find out that you acquire skills by linking your friends with you in battle. The link system goes as follows. You choose which formation you want your friends to be in, for example, an attack formation, and then you assign it to a button on the D-pad. When the battle starts, you push the D-pad in the direction your characters will link up into that formation. After doing this for about 15 battles, you will acquire the skill of everyone you've been linking up with, which is pretty much the only reason to use a lot of characters. Now, there's a small paragraph about that in the instruction manual that I did not read because I'm from 2020 and I haven't really used an instruction manual in a very long time. Has nice pictures though. So that linking system provides a strong reason why you should use a lot of your friends. If your friends happen to have a strong skill, you would want to bring them in and fight with them until you own the skill. However, friends aren't brought in at the level you are. They're brought in at a random level based on how far you are in the story. So say you get a guy who's swinging his sword on the bridge, whatever his name is, and he comes in at level 0. I was like at level 30 when I got him, so he is useless unless I can keep him alive for about 15 levels. Regardless of what skill he is giving me, he's taking up valuable experience from a friend that I might want to keep in my party till the end. And some of these characters keep getting thrown into your party because of the story. So if you take them out of the party, by the time they get thrown back in, they will be under-leveled and you will have to grind specifically for them to continue the story. Jack Russell will always be ahead in level than all of his friends no matter what. And I don't really like that. I want everybody to have a chance to be as great as Jack. Not giving everybody a chance to train without Jack outside of the story kind of makes me feel like they're holding me back. There are also super moves that everybody can do called the Volti limit. I figured that out at the end of the game and it was pretty awesome, but it wasn't as strong as it needed to be. Every time one of the bad guys uses their Volti limit on me, it damn near kills me or knocks me out immediately, and I wake up with them standing over me in the story telling me how much I suck. I use mine, and not only is it not that strong, but it takes all of my magic ability, which can only be rebuilt by hitting bad guys with normal attacks or them beating you up. So I rarely use the limit and keep my magic so that I can heal my whole party. I think that it was very short-sighted to link both the magic and your super move to the same gauge. In other Square games, if you have a limit, it's based on how many times you get hit or something like that. You wouldn't have to sacrifice magic to use Cloud's limit break, for example. So it kills Jack's limit break right away for me. Or, sorry, Volti move, Volti limit. Other than that, music was mediocre and no song stuck in my head. All in all, it took me about 45 hours to beat the game, and that includes me falling asleep and pausing the game to take care of my needy children and wife. Granted, I played this game while I was recovering from a hip surgery, so that's probably why I fell asleep so much. I mean, I'm sure if the game had reasonable checkpoints and save points, then I would have been able to turn off my PlayStation 2 when I had to stop playing it. But hey, What's more important is that I let life pass me by because this cutscene is unskippable and you can't pause it, and it's 15 minutes long, and they also won't resume your control close to your room, so you will have to run throughout the whole city to get to your room, even to save. I know I'm bringing it up again, but that's how much it sucked. I was on level 50 when I started the final level and about level 55 when I finished the game. And I read that the new Game Plus starts your level at 0 but gives you all of the gear that you've earned, which makes me glad that I recorded everything because I will never be playing this game again unless it's for charity or something else worth the torture. I'm sure if I played this game as a college student back in 2005, I would have thought that it was great and not remembered the crappy save system. But as a man who is 40 as of writing this script, all I could do is be offended by how the game was purposefully ripping my progress from me to act like it was longer than it was. Okay, so that's my review. I can't believe I wrote so much, but I had to get it all down before I lost my recollection of how I was feeling. This game is definitely added to my video game plot summary, as I said in the beginning. I'm looking forward to going over the story without the very long, drawn-out hiccups of playing the actual game. I actually hiccuped on the word hiccup. I thought that was funny. I'm leaving it in. But until then, guys, I'll talk to you on the next one. Peace.